Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is our weekly Patriots of Act 746 segment. They are on a mission to educate Arkansans about our gun laws, specifically Act 746 and constitutional carry, permitless carry here in the state. It is your right to defend yourself. Hey, joining us now to talk more about this, we have Jan Morgan is back with us. Jan, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, Paul, always a pleasure.
Yes. So I want to start, before we get to some Act 746 stuff, I'd like to start just talking about, of course, last week, the huge news, and we discussed it last week as well. You're announcing an exploratory committee for a potential run at governor. And you had a kickoff event, or you're listening to her at Alma, and I played a lot of that on Monday. Just tell me, what were your thoughts on that reception?
Oh, Paul, the reception has been overwhelming. And what has been exciting to me, besides just the grassroots folks that have responded to the whole idea of this exploratory committee, is the number of Republicans, conservative Republicans across the state. And Republican Party chairs from a number of counties are now stepping up and saying, Jan Morgan, we want you to come speak to our Republican Party in our county. That's exciting because, as you know, we had a little issue. Before we ever announced an exploratory committee, we had an issue where I was scheduled to speak at a number of Republican Party events, and phone calls were being made and emails being sent to persuade and strong-arm Republican Party chairs to not allow me to speak. And, in fact, Craighead County uninvited me after they had promoted me as a speaker. So, with all that drama behind us now, I'm glad to see that Republican Party chairs are stepping up to the plate and saying, you know what, we want to hear what this lady has to say and why she feels that the Republican Party is in a crisis mode at this point in our state, and what we need to do to save it and what we need to do to save this state and make it a better place to live and work. So the response has been overwhelming. I was excited because at that event, the Patriots of Act 746 event, which is a kickoff to my listening tour, there were people, Paul, who had driven 3 and 4 hours to get there. And Republican Party chairs from 2 different counties who drove long distances, who came to basically hear what I had to say, and I think they were trying to decide at that point when they came, are we going to let this woman speak to our group? And overwhelmingly, both of those county chairs came up to me afterward and said, we want to help.
Yeah.
So, yes, we want you to come talk. So that was exciting.
That's
great. Day.
That's great. And I know in November you're going to be at the Mississippi County Republican Party meeting there. And,
yes.
and of course, we uncovered an email from one of the men in the governor's office that was pressuring folks to uninvite you there as well. And so, this is certainly, I was mentioning earlier, some of the news that we've been covering on this program, I believe, is kind of working the establishment up into a frenzy. And I obviously think that your potential candidacy is certainly fueling that as well.
Well, Paul, what we're seeing, not only in Arkansas, but across the nation, and it is so exciting that conservatives are finally realizing, they're stepping up to the plate and realizing that the establishment has been the problem. And that's why Steve Bannon stepped off the Trump administration and Dr. Sebastian Gorka to get out there, because they realized in order to get the people's agenda accomplished in D.C., not Trump's agenda, but the people's agenda. And remember, Trump is simply there because of the people. And so in order to get that done, they realized being in D.C. is not where they needed to be. They need to be out in the states finding and promoting the League of Extraordinary Candidates, real people who know what it's like to live and work in respective states, to run for state offices, because we need to get the right people in elected positions so that we can continue to forward the people's agenda. So that's exciting, and I think people in this state, we're getting phone calls from all kinds of folks across the state. So it is a very exciting time, and things are looking great, Paul.
So I love the idea, though, because the idea that you had county members, county Republican members or chairmen travel to hear you, I feel like that is so important, because, that's really where I feel like the local people who are controlling the party's agenda there at the local level, and how that can all unite and can really reflect. And when you were at the Alma event, I listened to most of your speech. I played most of your speech. I listened to all of it. You did recount just how you got to the statewide stage. What went on down in Little Rock about the Second Amendment, and how all of that happened with the gun bills and everything else. And I just wondered, do you think that there was some in that audience that had never heard that story, and they were like, wow, there are real problems down there when we have Republicans who are not acting like the platform?
Exactly. Actually, not going much further than not acting, but they're actually not voting the Republican Party platform. And our best, most conservative legislators are the ones that's why we're in a crisis mode, because those are the people that either now have opposition candidates running against them as Republicans because those people dared to buck Governor Asa Hutchinson's agenda. And actually, those legislators tried to represent their constituency. And as a result of representing their constituency versus the agenda of Governor Hutchinson, now they have opposition in the primary elections. And some of them are even talking about not running again. One of our strongest conservatives, based on his voting record, is saying, I can't get anything accomplished, which is why I never really looked seriously at running for senator or state representative, because I would run into the same problem that the rest of our conservative, strong Republican legislators are running into, and that is they can't beat the establishment. So what I want to do is get in there and see if we the people if there are enough people in this state who are serious enough about sending a message to the establishment that we are fed up, that we're tired of politics as usual, that we're tired of being told that you're going to repeal regulatory regulations, and instead we're getting more regulatory burdens. Republicans who are promising us tax cuts, and instead we're getting tax increases. I mean, it's just people are tired of that, and they're starting to pay attention now. And so, I'm glad that people are engaging. What we're going to be looking for is to see how many people in this state are really serious about change, to make that final decision about whether or not we're going to pull the trigger on this.
Very good. We're talking with Jan Morgan, a potential Republican candidate for governor. So you had a great event in Alma, and then you hopped over into Oklahoma for a minute, right? What was that about?
Well, Paul, that I've been on the national stage fighting as a national spokesperson of Citizens for Trump on a wide variety of issues. People who think I'm just a single-issue candidate are misinformed, and that's, of course, what the opposition wants people to think about me, is that I'm a single-issue candidate or potential candidate, but that's not the case. I was fighting as a citizen spokesperson, national spokesperson of Citizens for Trump, defending candidate Trump on every issue imaginable on the national stage, as well as, once he became president, defending him and his positions and policies as president on the national level. So that is what I've been doing. And what I've tried to let the folks in Alma know, and the folks around the state know, is that we have a lot of problems, and we're going to address them effectively and quickly, and we're trying to get the word out to the people about where we stand on all those issues. The Oklahoma thing was because of my past. It's a commitment that I made 6 months ago to help grow the grassroots Second Amendment organization in that state. Because, Paul, here's what we're finding out. National organizations like the National Rifle Association, National Association for Gun Rights, Gun Owners of America, the Second Amendment Foundation, all those organizations have their merit in general and in a number of ways. But what we've discovered nationally is that the most effective 2A organizations, or organizations that are within the state with grassroots membership. And what we've seen in Alabama with a group called Bama Carry, and in Arizona with a group called Citizens Defense League, made up of grassroots citizens, that now in states like that, where the citizens are the major lobbying power instead of some national organization, now legislators in those states are much more afraid of those state organizations and bucking those state organizations than they are about some NRA rating.
Wow.
And that's good, and that's where it needs to be.
Yeah.
That's where it needs to be, the power to the people of the state. And so that's what I was talking to the folks in Oklahoma about, is generating and growing their organization. Like Patriots, the 746 group, Paul, we're already over 10,000 members strong and growing every day. And when you get a group that state legislators start worrying about where their standing is with your state group of grassroots people, then you've got some serious lobbying power with the people in control.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I completely agree with that. And, you know, the great folks at Patriots of Act 746, and they have done a tremendous job on the state level all the way back in 2013 when Act 746 was passed, and then, you know, it became law in July later that year, and they started getting the word out. They started exercising their Second Amendment rights, and now we have a situation where we are closer to realizing, you know, we just need Asa and other people to say, hey, we have constitutional carry in Arkansas. They don't want to do that because they're protecting the money that goes to the Arkansas State Police.
Exactly, and I asked the governor. I asked him multiple times in my one-on-one meeting with him. Let's say one-on-one. There were actually 5 or 6, 7 other guys at the table there. But it was my confrontation with Governor Asa Hutchinson and asking him to please clarify to the people of the state what we already know, and that is that we have constitutional carry in this state. And he admitted to me that we do, but he did not. The only excuse he could come up with for not just stepping out there and saying this to the people is it was about the money that the Arkansas State Police make off the concealed handgun licensing program. And, you know, that's just that is so troublesome, Paul, that you've got a Republican governor who doesn't want to stand up to the people in the state and simply say, look, folks, we do not want to discriminate against financially disadvantaged people. We want everyone in this state who is a citizen of this state to know and understand that you don't have to get a permission slip from state police in order to carry a gun to defend your life.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
He won't do it.
So,
he won't do it.
Yeah, and he won't. You're exactly right. So, Jan, I want to talk just a little bit about this new enhanced carry license. We now have the state police training and everything that you're going to have to do if you want to comply with the new red tape, the rules and regulations to carry in prohibited places. And I've covered extensively. I know you've covered it. That entire process was so flawed, and I believe a lot of politicians, you know, it was just like you said, but the governor. They just didn't want to make him veto anything that really would have really accented and confirmed the Second Amendment rights that we already have. But specifically with these rules, I'd like to get your reaction to this. I have this in front of me. I give my consent and release to the Arkansas State Police to conduct a thorough investigation into my qualifications to be a license to carry a concealed handgun for any records or reports held by any physician, medical professional, medical facility, mental institution, private, state, or federal, or for any law enforcement agency to furnish detailed information from their records. So is this new with the enhanced carry that people, if they want to do this, have to turn over their medical history?
Paul, there are so many new things that are coming down the pipe with the enhanced carry. It is a convoluted mess, just like it was in the whole bill process, as it went from one stage to another stage to another stage, and amendments kept being added and changed, and it moved around. It is like our whole concealed handgun licensing program in this state. It is a complicated mess, when all we need is for the governor to announce what we already know so that the citizens don't have to worry about this and don't have to be confused, to just say we have constitutional carry. Here's the problem with what you just read. That is going to be, people have to sign off. When you want a concealed handgun license in the state of Arkansas, you have to sign that, giving state police permission. And that's not just for the enhanced carry, Paul. That's for the regular concealed carry license.
Wow.
You have to give them access to your medical records. So what that means, Paul, is that if you have ever, let's say you lost a loved one, you had a death in the family, and you were depressed, and you went to your doctor and said, look, I needed an antidepressant. I need something to get me through this period. And you were temporarily prescribed an antidepressant or whatever. They're going to have access to that and can use that as an excuse to deny you a license. Now, here's the problem with that. If you submit an application for a concealed handgun license and you're denied, then not only are you denied in this state, but let's say you decide, okay, I want to get a license from the state of Arizona or the state of Florida. One of the questions on their questionnaire is, have you ever been rejected for a concealed handgun license in any state? You see?
Yeah.
So here all of a sudden, so what I tell people is this, and I tell everybody who comes to my facility and wants to take my defensive pistol class, I just say, just so you know, yes, you can take my class and I'll give you a certificate of training for a concealed handgun license in the state of Arkansas. However, as an Arkansas citizen, I want people to listen to this, as a citizen of Arkansas, you can submit an application to the state of Florida, the state of Arizona, the state of Virginia, or the state of Utah for a concealed handgun license as a non-resident of those states, the price is less than half of what Arkansas State Police charges, and yet your license from one of those states is good in the state of Arkansas. It's recognized. So not only can you get a license cheaper from one of those states, but you don't have to worry about giving a state police organization a permission slip to go and investigate your entire medical history and your entire background.
Wow.
So, that's one of the things that people need to keep in mind. And also, it is better to not submit an application for a license and give the state police access to your medical records rather than just, open carry or concealed carry without a license, because we have constitutional carry. Constitutional carry means that you don't have to have a permission slip. And that's what we're trying, as Patriots of Act 746 group is trying to do, is educate people that they don't have to have that permission slip. They don't have to have it. And you don't even have to be a citizen of this state. Once you cross over in the state line of Arkansas, as a citizen of any state, you can carry a gun in this state. We get a lot of visitors here in Hot Springs that come to my gun range, and they're shocked to find out that they don't have to have an Arkansas license or have to have a concealed handgun license to carry a gun in the state of Arkansas. And that's the way it should be. Actually, that's the way it should be nationally.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And what's interesting, about the situation, if Governor would come out, Asa Hutchinson, and clarify this, it would also help law enforcement because, you still have, for the most part, the prosecutors get the message. Because if somebody gets arrested for carrying a weapon illegally, the prosecutors are dropping the charges because they know they can't prove
they can't do anything about it.
Right. But then you still have intermittently, you have an arrest here and arrest there, where they're just not enforcing the law accurately. The law enforcement isn't. And so it would really be nice if somebody at the top would set the record straight of what the law actually says.
And that's one of the areas that I got really crossways with Governor Hutchinson, and our meeting became very contentious because I said to him, Governor, I'm giving you a chance to be a hero to the people. Please, as a Republican governor, step out there and tell them about their constitutional right in this state. What a wonderful thing. And then when he brought up the state police and the money issue, I said, but Governor, there are people in this state who are still going to go to state police for a concealed handgun license, not because they need the permission slip, but because when you go to buy a gun, having that concealed handgun license cuts out the NICS background check. You simply, pass that license across the desk, they sign off on your paperwork, and you're out of there. And it also allows you, when you go into other states who don't have constitutional carry, it allows you to carry a gun in those states because not all states have constitutional carry. Mm-hmm. So those are reasons that people are still going to get a license. But I just try to remind people in Arkansas, unless the state police lower the rate, they can get a license from Arizona, Florida, and you can go online. Go online to do that. Virginia, Utah. Yeah. Those are 4 I know of that are reciprocal in the state of Arkansas. It's good in Arkansas, but you don't have to pay an exorbitant fee, and you don't have to go through getting your whole medical history exposed to state police.
Jan Morgan, I think I need to come to Hot Springs and I need to take your class. That's what I think I need to do.
I can tell you definitely need to come to Hot Springs and take my class. I will teach you how to shoot like a girl.
Okay.
Is a good thing.
Yeah, I know. I've read about that because, women typically don't grow up, playing cowboys and Indians and learning bad habits before they actually hold a real gun. So at least that's what I've heard.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Well, I don't know about how many bad habits you have that I would have to undo, but I have not had to tell anyone that they were hopeless. So there's hope for you, Paul.
Well, I'll be the guy. Trust me. I'll be the one. It's like, well, you're hopeless. Well, we can meet back here and discuss it. Jan Morgan, I appreciate it. Potential Republican candidate for governor. We will do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Paul.
All righty. Folks, we got to take a break.
Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.